this hiker stopped beneath a tree to catch his breath. Nothing seemed unusual until he noticed something odd happening in the trees around him. Intrigued and maybe a little too fearless for his own good, he pulled out his phone to record it. What he captured in that moment is what left him genuinely shaken.
I mean, there's a little wind, but, I mean, look at the rest of the tree. That's like a normal leaf blowing, right? Oh, those are kind of doing it too. Look at these. What is happening here? I mean, this may be lack of proper knowledge. Something. That is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life.
At first glance, everything appears calm, almost too calm. But look closely. Only the leaves on a few branches begin to sway, slowly, rhythmically, almost like they're trying to beckon him closer, even though there's barely a breeze in the air. Why are those leaves moving while the rest of the tree stands completely still? The comment section exploded instantly. Some insisted it could be a fey trap, a lure used by forest spirits to draw the curious deeper into danger. Others tried to brush it off as nothing more than an odd branch formation, while a few joked that the safest move was simply to wave back. But as strange as this creepy forest moment was, it didn't compare to what the next hiker filmed while wandering the woods alone.
So I came back to the woods where I found the wavy bubbles a few weeks ago. I actually come back here a few times, but I didn't find anything. And I actually found something else, and it's super cool. Let me show you. So yeah, I blew this bubble like a minute ago, and it is still here. It's right here, right in this location. It hasn't moved. It's in this kind of suspended state. I am not a bubble expert, but I am pretty sure that this is not normal. So I'm like, I don't know, like a quarter mile away from the other bubbles. I'm really bad at measuring distance, but I'm not far. And so this does feel like it's part of the same glitch ecosystem.
The bubbles, or whatever those strange floating orbs were, seemed to drift as if gravity had stopped working altogether. They moved in directions that made no physical sense. Did he stumble into a glitch in the Matrix? Or is there something about these woods that science hasn't caught up with yet? What do you think these creepy things caught in the woods really were? And more importantly, what would you have done in a moment like this? Drop your theories below. Adam, the creator behind Ad's Ventures, joined a few friends on a trip to a remote forest near the Welsh border, thinking it would be the perfect backdrop for an outdoor horror movie. The forest already had a reputation for being haunted, and even while they were setting up, the place felt heavier than the usual woods he filmed in.
What was that? What was that?
Do you know that I've recorded?
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I actually did.
Like a low... Was it?
Then it happened. An eerie, unexplainable sound echoed through the trees, sharp enough to make everyone jump. Confused voices cut through the silence as they tried to figure out where it came from. But no one could agree on a direction. They eventually brushed it off and went back to watching the movie, trying to shake the unease. But as the night deepened, the tension around them seemed to thicken.
Hey, Mom? Dad?
Oslo, where's it?
Mom? Someone said he's sleeping. Don't move.
He's just literally there staring into the blackness.
What is it?
Where's the Oslo?
Oslo, is it okay? Get him. Yeah.
Their dog, Oslo, suddenly locked his gaze into the darkness, staring intensely at something none of them could see. When they called his name, He didn't react. Not even a twitch. Moments later, the atmosphere changed in an instant, and without warning, the camera shut off by itself. Panicking, they grabbed their gear and hurried back to the car. Later, when Adam reviewed the footage, he spotted something chilling in the final frame before the camera died. A sudden, freezing blast of wind rushing straight at the lens, kicking up dust and debris across the screen. It didn't look natural at all. More like something had charged directly at him. From that night on, Adam became convinced this forest was anything but ordinary. On October 30th, 2024, Larry, creator of the YouTube channel Workless Enjoy Life, returned to a secluded campsite where, just weeks earlier, he had captured something he still couldn't explain. A series of strange, deliberate knocks echoing near his truck. Known for his peaceful outdoor trips and relaxing pickup camping videos, Larry figured Halloween night was the perfect time to go back and see if whatever made those sounds would show itself again.
I figure, since we're right here at Halloween, where better to have a Halloween special video than at the exact same location I made my last video, which is right where I heard those really creepy knocks, like right here at my camp. I didn't know what it was. Got a bug in my eyeball. I didn't know what it was at the time. It did freak me out. It freaked the dogs out. But I had tons of comments and emails saying that it was just classic Bigfoot, Sasquatch knock. So struck my curiosity. I figured we'll come back here, we'll check it out, see if we hear anything tonight, and should be a good night. So stick around and let's get camp set up.
He arrived with his 2 dogs, Mason and Marty, ready to set up camp and test whether those scary camping encounter noises would return. As dusk settled in, Larry unpacked his gear and added a festive twist to the evening by carving a pumpkin beside his truck. Using a small carving kit, he cut through the thick rind, scooped out the slimy insides, and joked about how much easier it was with proper tools instead of a spoon. Once cleaned and carved, he placed a light inside, giving the pumpkin a warm, flickering glow before roasting the seeds over the campfire.
Be to carve a pumpkin. So we're gonna carve a pumpkin tonight. All right, I got one of these pumpkin kits just for the knives and stuff, and then this scooper to get the seeds and stuff out. I don't think I'm going to use any of it comes with like stencils that you could use or patterns. I don't think I'm going to use any of those though. We're just going to do it simple. So the tools I'm going to use are this scoop, and then got this little knife, and then a little bit bigger knife. It's been so long since I did one of these pumpkins. I used to just use like a spoon, regular spoon. I just didn't cut it very well. Because it kind of, you know, if you haven't carved a pumpkin before, this stuff sticks. The seeds and the insides just like stick to the sides of the pumpkin. So when you have these little teeth like that, it just cleans it up real nice. Look at that. Yeah, this ain't gonna take long at all to clean out now. Ew, all cleaned out pretty good there. Okay, what do you think?
Later that night, Larry addressed a wave of comments from viewers who believed he had left his dogs outside during his previous trip. He calmly explained that he never would, especially not after hearing those unsettling knocks in the dark that night. Sitting beside the fire, he admitted the memory still bothered him more than he liked to admit.
So I want to clear something up. On the last video, I had an insane amount of people think that I left my dogs outside, like throughout the night. I don't get what part of the last video got people to think that, but yeah, it was kind of, I don't know, I got just bombarded by rude comments. And bunch of people said they were leaving the channel, they weren't going to subscribe anymore, or they were going to unsubscribe and leave or whatever, and I just don't get it. If any of these people have watched more than like one of my videos, you'd see that I take very good care. Would I ever leave my dogs outside, especially overnight? And to top it all off, even on top of that, last time I was hearing creepy sounds out there, and then I brought them in basically as soon as I heard the second sounds, and I was out there, and I was just done being out there because of what was going on. Yeah. And since we've been sitting here, I've been kind of, like, my anxiety's kind of built up because on that last video, I was sitting here eating dinner when I heard, like, the first loud crashing sounds out here.
Hoping to catch any creepy things caught in the woods, Larry kept the camera rolling. To unwind, he roasted a few chocolate-stuffed marshmallows, explaining he preferred them charred black on the outside, but firm on the inside. But the forest stayed silent. No knocks, no footsteps. Only the soft crackle of the fire closing out the night. By morning, Larry reflected on how strangely calm everything had been. Whatever had caused those mysterious knocks before, whether something natural or something else entirely, didn't return. The woods felt peaceful, almost normal again. Still, one question lingered. If those knocks weren't from Bigfoot, then what had been watching him that first night? It was October 2018 when Kent, the creator behind Kent's Survival, uploaded his Halloween special. Known for his calm outdoor adventures, bushcraft builds, and quiet nights alone in the wilderness, this time he chose a place far removed from his usual peaceful camps. Joined by fellow outdoorsman Tom, he headed to Pluckley, an English village long regarded as the most haunted place in the United Kingdom. Among its many ghostly legends stood the ruined St. Mary's Church. Built in the 1200s and later destroyed by a German Phi-1 bomb during World War II.
Well, I'm here in Pluckley now, St Leonard's Church behind me. I'm sat in the cemetery with my ghost stories book. For decades, Pluckley rejoiced under the title of the most haunted village in England. I say rejoiced, but over the years Pluckley's spooky status attracted not just lovers of ghost stories, but also a rowdy element which would descend on the village at Halloween, making a nuisance of themselves. So much annoyance was caused that the police took to cordoning off the village on the night of the 31st October and sending visitors elsewhere. Pluckley's most haunted title was awarded because at least a dozen ghosts are claimed to haunt its houses, streets and immediate surroundings. Apparently, the Red Lady haunts St Nicholas Church, usually inside, but she occasionally wanders around the graveyard too. The church is also haunted by a woman in white, believed to be former Lady Daring, and in addition her little white dog. The woods we're staying in tonight, Daring Woods, are named after the family that the ghost that resides here comes from, but they are locally called the Screaming Woods, so we'll find out if that's true.
Locals still whisper about a strange mist rising from the church's consecrated grounds, often mistaken for smoke from fires no one can find. Some say it's the unsettled energy of those still buried beneath the ruins. That night, Kent and Tom left behind their familiar forests and ventured into Daring Woods, better known by its chilling nickname, the Screaming Woods. They arrived just as the last light drained from the sky, parking near the edge of the tree line.
Come far enough, can't hear the road or anything now. Just got to find a nice flat opening somewhere. Right, so we're just walking into the woods. We've got quite far in, and you might just be able to make out over there. Hang on. There's a car in here. No, we can't get over to it because there's a stream there to check it out, but yeah, I think we're going to make our way away from this.
Bodies in it.
Yeah, so we've just done the walk in. Saw a few weird things, and when we got to camp here we heard screaming. So that's our first scream of the Screaming Woods. I think it was a fox, hopefully. But yeah, walking through these woods kind of reminded me a bit of the Blair Witch Woods. Kind of very close, claustrophobic, unkept, and quite hard to manoeuvre around. 5, 6, 7 years since I was last here, quite a while ago now, and that was on a Halloween as well, but didn't spend the night. This will be my first full night in the woods, at the Screaming Woods.
Kent pitched his Hexbeak tent while Tom set up his Jack Wolfskin shelter nearby. Together, they built a small campfire, their first time sharing a woodland camp. Then came the first sound. A scream. Sharp, quick, and unsettling. Kent assumed it was a fox, but the noise made both men pause. The forest was already living up to its name. As darkness settled in, Kent began cooking a simple pumpkin soup. He carved the pumpkin, chopped onion and garlic, added sweet potato and spices, then let the mixture simmer over the fire. The crackling flames broke the stillness, and the warm scent drifted through the cold night air. Not long after, faint voices drifted from somewhere deep in the trees. Both men turned off their headlamps and listened. The voices were soft, almost conversational, but too distant to make out. Eventually, they assumed it was probably other visitors. Maybe ghost hunters drawn by Pluckley's haunted reputation. Kent finished his soup, then heated a ration pack by the fire. Midnight passed quietly. The forest felt as though it was holding its breath.
So it's around midnight now. We've been hanging around camp, chatting away over the campfire. Earlier in the evening we did hear voices in the woods. As I said before, these woods are pretty popular for people to come and mess around because they are the Screaming Woods. But I thought I'd just take a little walk, have a look around, get a feel for the forest. But nothing as yet. So as you've seen earlier in the video, the village of Pluckley is pretty haunted, but the woods have their own stories as well. You've got the first one, which is an 18th century colonel that hung himself in the woods, and apparently he can be heard. And you've also got a highwayman that I believe was beheaded in these woods as well. There's also some other kind of folklore stories as well. Apparently in the 40s, there was a pile of bodies found in these woods, around 20 or so men, women and children found just piled up, and they couldn't determine the cause of death. I think they concluded that it was carbon monoxide poisoning somehow, and the theory goes that the police were involved in the murders of these people. You've also had students go missing in these woods as well, never to be seen again. But I don't know how it'd be alone here, but the two of us have had quite a chilled evening, really. The only screaming we've heard so far is earlier in the evening when people were walking around.
Kent remembered the local legends. A colonel who took his own life, a highwayman who was beheaded, and eerie accounts of bodies once found in these woods under mysterious circumstances. When the fire finally burned low, they retreated into their tents. No more screams, no more whispers, only the steady rhythm of the forest returning to its usual calm. By sunrise, the Screaming Woods looked peaceful again, just trees and cold earth. No ghosts, no shadows, nothing to prove the story's true. Yet something about the place lingered, an unsettling sense that the legends weren't merely tales, but echoes waiting to rise again. On October 18th, 2025, Jose Flores, the investigator behind Jose Flores' Terror, a YouTube channel devoted to scary videos, abandoned places, and real-life paranormal hunts, set out to spend the night in a half-built, long-deserted house that locals swore was cursed. They claimed no one had ever stayed past sunset. But for Jose, this was just another chance to test whether the legends were real or simply stories whispered out of fear. Completely alone, surrounded by silence and concrete, he stepped inside and began recording.
encuentro adentro de la casa. Voy a darles un pequeño tour por dentro de este lugar para que puedan conocer, primero que nada, dónde voy a estar pasando la noche. Es una casa, como lo voy a repetir a lo largo de todo.
De cierta manera es una casa que las personas no quieren habitar, por lo tanto la casa no se ha vendido, no se ha podido terminar de construir por lo mismo que las personas se quejaban constante de actividad paranormal de esta casa. Entonces por eso se dice que de cierta manera es una casa que no puede ser habitada. Les voy a mostrar la hora, son ahorita las 9:46 de la noche y quiero mostrarles algo que les dije ahorita. Ver si les puedo enseñar. Miren, aquí está el celular y ahí en la parte de arriba se alcanzan a ver que no alcanza a captar prácticamente nada de... ¿Por qué? Porque prácticamente es lo que sucede aquí adentro. No hay señal adentro de la casa, o sea, es como les dije ahorita, como si algo interfiriera, porque nada más salir a la parte de afuera y la señal vuelve, pero al estar dentro de la casa no hay ningún tipo de señal. Se acaba de escuchar como un golpe. Aquí y ahora sí voy a comenzar a armar la casa de campaña.
The house felt like a hollow shell, unfinished concrete walls exposed, empty rooms swallowing every sound. Inside, the only noise was the faint echo of Jose's footsteps stretching through the darkness. He noticed immediately that his phone lost all signal the moment he crossed the doorway, as if the place had sealed itself off from the world outside. He chose a bare, windowless room to set up his camp. Using an old table as a base for his gear, he unfolded his tent and prepared for the long night ahead. The time was 9:46 p.m. As he worked, a soft knock echoed from somewhere deeper in the structure. He froze. Seconds later, it came again, louder.
Está bastante fuerte, está la luz parpadeando hasta la parte roja. Eso significa que hay algo aquí cerca de mí. Esto lo que mide son los campos electromagnéticos, el nivel de energía de la casa. Y así ha estado parpadeando y parpadeando prácticamente desde que lo encendí. Eso quiere decir que hay muchísima energía dentro de la casa. Miren cómo está parpadeando prácticamente todo el tiempo. Ahora sí, ya voy a comenzar a armar lo que es la casa de campaña. Ya terminé de armar la casa de campaña, meter la mochila adentro. La idea es pasar la noche allí adentro durante la madrugada o conforme vaya pasando el tiempo, salir a dar retos en la casa. También ahorita voy a proceder a instalar una cámara. Creo que la voy a instalar de una vez. Quería instalar una cámara que esté apuntando directamente hacia la puerta principal y yo creo que esta cámara... Ya estoy ahorita dentro de la casa de campaña y se los juro que ahorita que estaba metiendo aquí mis cosas se alcanzó a escuchar como una voz de una persona dentro. De hecho, me asusté porque pensé que había entrado alguien. Se agarré las cosas. De hecho, ya no hay nada de cosas aquí arriba porque comencé todo rápido a la mochila. Iba a dejar la casa de campaña aquí porque se los juro que se escuchó la voz de una persona como si estuviera aquí adentro, porque inclusive la voz sonaba con eco. Pero no hay nadie aquí, entonces sí, de repente como que me asustó un poco y pues esto apenas va comenzando. Ay. Se acaba de escuchar un golpe por allá. Ay. Lo extraño es que la aplicación me acaba... Él me dijo. La sensación de repente de este lugar se acaba de poner completamente diferente. Se siente, por así decirlo, como otra energía acá. Como otra sensación, todo el tiempo traigo los pelos de punta, una sensación de todo el tiempo como, no sé, como si hubiera algo más acá.
Jose switched on his EMF detector. The device instantly spiked into the red, flashing wildly and humming with an intensity that made his skin crawl. The signal rose and dipped as though reacting to something watching him from the shadows. Minutes later, another knock echoed, followed by a distant noise, low, muted, and unmistakably human. He grabbed his spirit box, letting the static bleed into the silence. Then a single word broke through the static, clear and direct. Adios. Jose didn't move. That voice didn't sound mechanical. It sounded present, as if someone had spoken from inside the room.
Intentar aunque sea dormir un poco, no sé qué horas sean exactamente. Lo único que sí sé es que es bastante tarde. Se han estado escuchando muchos ruidos adentro de la casa, como golpes, como si estuviera alguien aquí adentro haciendo golpes en las paredes todo el tiempo, pero voy a intentar dormir aunque sea algunos minutos o algo. Es la 1 de la madrugada, 1:13. Y se está escuchando como un lamento, como un lamento. Uy. Es un lamento que se escucha en la parte de afuera. Hoy se escucha como un lamento de una mujer y está completamente loco. No sé si serán los murciélagos que estén provocando todos esos ruidos. Hoy. Eso acaba de escucharse detrás de mí y estoy seguro que no fueron los murciélagos. Aunque están volando aquí, estoy segurísimo que no fueron los murciélagos. ¿Eres tú? ¿Hiciste ese ruido?
Arnau.
Ok, no sé qué significa esa palabra. ¿Vas a entrar a la casa?
Adiós.
Se acaba de escuchar otro golpe atrás. Voy a comenzar a recoger todas las cosas. Ya es bastante tarde. No sé si haya sido coincidencia todo lo que se logró escuchar esta noche. No sé. Aquel lamento de mujer, los golpes en la casa, los pasos de manera clara. O sea, yo creo que esto no es una coincidencia. Y son las 3:18 de la madrugada. Ya son las 3 de la madrugada. Ya es muy tarde, yo creo que ahora sí me voy a retirar. Tengo que recoger todavía la casa de campaña. Ahora sí, ya voy saliendo. Ya por fin pude respirar un poco de aire fresco adentro de la casa. Hace muchísimo calor. Se siente como muy sofocado dentro de la casa. Ya aquí se siente el aire mucho más fresco.
As midnight crept closer, the entire house seemed to thicken with tension. Footsteps shuffled outside, slow and deliberate, followed by the faint sound of someone crying. Soft, distant, almost like a woman's voice drifting through the walls. The EMF detector flared again, pulsing in sync with the eerie sounds. By 3 a.m., Jose had reached his limit and began packing up. Every creak of the unfinished structure felt closer now, as if something was pacing just out of sight. When he finally walked outside, the cold night air hit him hard, sharp, clean, and grounding, like a relief he hadn't realized he'd been desperate for. Later, viewers spotted a dark figure in one of the windows around the 12-minute mark. Some insisted It was undeniable paranormal proof. Others blamed light distortion. But nearly everyone agreed on one thing. The adios from the spirit box was too clear, too direct to dismiss. Jose left convinced the house held something unexplainable. But if that voice truly said goodbye, was it warning him to leave or acknowledging that it had never been alone?